Good evening and welcome to the national competition, the Romanian competition of the 14th edition of UNESC Festival. We passed the middle of the festival already. We have a lot of foreign guests. That's why in the Romanian competition we are speaking in English. But first, before we will enter in the competition, let's say that in the animation community in Romania, almost every year, one of the friends of the festival, one of the Romanian animators, pass away, disappear from this world. So for this edition, I want to dedicate this competition to one of the festival friends called Valentin Eliseu, who unfortunately died a couple of months ago. And that's why first we will see his last short film that ran in the competition, I think 2 years ago.
Tell us about the story of the film, about the joke that you made and everything.
Well, I did a short story with a billboard trying to escape the confinement to the box. I'm a little animation bloomer, so for my first animation I chose a simple, closed-ending story with a hopefully a compelling twist.
Our story was based on a true story about Dumitru Dan, this amazing Romanian guy that did something amazing at the beginning of last century. When we heard the story, we wanted to make something out of it, and we realised the only way to do that was to do an animation. All the places that he went to and all the things that he did, it was nearly impossible to do that without doing it through animation, so we decided that that was the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, it should really have been a feature animation, but this is where we got to at the moment with the short.
My heroes used to share up is my first animation. I'm a 15-year-old girl in an art school. And with this animation I wanted to represent part of my mother's family and their journey and my father's journey through Bucharest.
Okay, so my animated short is, it's the kind of animated short that you do when you haven't touched animation in a long time. And for me it was sort of an exercise or a warm-up for better things that are to come, I hope. So I couldn't stop upon just one idea. It was a series of ideas that came together in that piece that's sort of an exercise.
My short animation is about a writer that actually struggles to write something but procrastinates, but he just wants to win a prize, like any prize, it doesn't matter, for writing. But he can't do that, but mosquito enters his room and sort of helps him out.
My film is kind of a documentary that I did this summer during an art residency in a Transylvanian village in Romania. And it's about life and death and about how life goes on even in front of death.
Well, my film was sort of a personal challenge. I wanted to see if I can manage to make it in time and in the short theme that we had. And I wanted to tell a story about our differences as humans, maybe.
My movie, it was my bachelor movie graduation, and it's about two characters from two different worlds and how they establish a connection that remains unforgettable and makes the one character to go in a journey after the other.
My short animation about with the leopard is landscape into the urbanic territory and relation. It was a relation with the human, with the animal. Thank you.
Question. Anton, Daniel, for you, because obviously it was the biggest production from all the other films. Let us know some secrets how to coordinate the team, because it was not one show. For many people were working for the show.
Yeah, so you saw with the credits, it was a big team. Some of them are here tonight actually, from the 3D side of things. It wasn't just us coordinating, so it involved obviously a lot of people on the 3D side, and then also on the stop motion / pixelation side, which was actually a filming essentially. So that had a whole production team that helped us shoot 1 week for the stop motion part. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people organising and a lot of effort over about 5 years, even if the actual making of it was actually only about 2 years. We spent a lot of time trying to save money up. So yeah, it was a team effort.
Well, you had that sort of producer, so you did part of animation somewhere else, or just the post?
The co-producer, the French co-producer, was helped us with the sound. So we had the music composed by a French composer. So that was the co-producer's contribution.
I have a question for Laura. I heard real voices on the background of the animation, so I suppose you actually attended the funeral, am I right? Yeah. How was the experience with the people? Were they welcoming? Was it a bit awkward to attend the funeral? Or person, I suppose you didn't know it. How was it with everything? Yeah, it was quite interesting. It was really the beginning of the residency, so I really didn't know anyone. But the people were really, really welcoming, and they kind of invited us to go there. Did they know what you were going to do? Did they know you were going to make a film? No, even I didn't. I knew I was going to make a film, but I didn't know that I was going to use some of the footage that I did during the funeral. It was just like, I just hit it was really spontaneous. I just hit the button and recorded, and that's what came out. It was really spontaneous.
Can I ask another question? My other question is for Opinj. Did anyone tell you about the story? How did you come about working on this particular subject?
The story was actually brought to us by a friend of mine who'd found it online. And I think in the local newspaper, Buzău, this is where Dumitru Dan was from. So we found that from him, and he kind of came to us and said that, we have to do something with this because no one seemed to know about it.
Yeah.
And I also, after kind of hearing about it, we asked around, and no one had heard of this guy, no one had heard about what he did. I think partly due to the fact that he had such an international kind of story, and I think during the communist period, it didn't fit the socialist kind of rhetoric. So I think his stories and what he did essentially was forgotten and kind of I guess pushed down in a way. Although we do know that he received from Elena Ceausescu, I think he received a garsoniera as like a small kind of plat, as like a prize for what he did.
Thanks. Well done.
Congratulations on your film, on your animation. You made me care about a mosquito. You made me have feelings for it. and it's clearly a work of passion. So my question is, what is it that draws you most to animation? Thanks.
That's a tough question, actually. I actually like drawing since I was a child, and I watched a lot of animation, and I still do. And I feel it's a really good medium, which I feel very comfortable to work with. And I don't know, I found out about it after college, I think, because I actually did more like traditional drawing. And I actually found out that I like animation more. But anyway, I still draw for animation, so they go hand in hand somehow.
Thanks.
Okay, salut. I also have a question for the directors of Orange. It's a cool story, the real story. I didn't know about it, and I'm glad you found it. I was curious how, if you started with a long film in mind, with a feature film, or did you start with making a short film at first? I'm just curious why you didn't make a long film and a feature. And I was curious how you decided to tell the story from this perspective and not show more from their actual journey and just show people dying, and then, I don't know. I was actually curious to see more about their journey and less about just telling. I hope the question is clear.
Sure. I think after we found out about the story and did a bit of investigation of our own, we managed to get in contact with Steliana, who you saw at the end there was the daughter of Dan Dumitru. And without knowing, we thought we'll just go and speak to her to find out more about his story. And from that interview, the most sort of, the thing that stood out the most and kind of was the most surprising was the fact that she didn't believe his stories when she was growing up, and he was telling her these stories at bedtime. And like she said, she thought he was just making some stuff up instead of telling the classic stories. And this kind of remained with us after going to see her, and we kind of thought that I think from the beginning, to be honest, we were not ready to do a feature-length animation. We hadn't done much animation, only shorter things up until that point. So I think we were a bit scared to go into a feature, and we knew that their story needed a feature. I mean, you couldn't tell that story in a short without it being, just too quick and glossing over things. So we thought, let's tell her story, kind of, and obviously touch on the main story as well. But we wanted to make our movie, I think, from that point about the relationship between her and her father, and the fact that she was, she had a single father. He brought her up without a mother, and we kind of felt that the story he told could be a way of sort of telling her about losing people and having to continue and things like that. But you're right. I mean, I think their story requires a feature animation. Perhaps one day we'll make it, or someone else will make it. But yeah.